Welcome back to Liquid Lunch. It's me, Hugh, and Natalie's here, and we have Savannah Ross here, Canada's #1 real estate investor. Savannah, great to meet you.
Awesome to be here. Thank you.
Okay, so where do we begin? You're doing a thing tonight in Toronto.
Actually, I came to Toronto to do a free training session. So we'll be teaching people how to run the numbers. I'm going to be going through all the details. So it's going to be a really great, valuable event. We're doing it tonight at 6:30 at Lakeshore, Sheridan, Four Point Sheridan on Lakeshore. And asking people to bring pen and paper because there's going to be lots of number crunching. I'm going to show them exactly how we went from $400,000 in debt to $3.1 million in 6 months.
Now that's a pretty phenomenal turnaround. So first of all, when did that? When did you do that? When were you minus 400,000?
5 years and 2 months ago.
So there's probably people out there thinking about getting into the real estate market 4 or 5 years, and 5 years ago you were minus 400,000. Now you're over 3 million.
Absolutely.
So what was it that got you to make that? Because obviously you're going one direction and you turned that around and totally going in a different direction.
Absolutely.
Now.
Well, you know, people either act out of inspiration or desperation, and unfortunately for most of us, it takes desperate measures before we'll take action and make a change in our lives. And that was the case with us. We'd gone through a series of dramatic events. We had a house fire, followed by our 6-month-old niece passing away unexpectedly, and the teachers going on strike, so my ex-husband lost his position at work, and kind of everything sort of fell on top of us. But it wasn't until February 7th that we were told that our son had less than a day to live, that life kind of changed for me, having to deal with that chaos and that tragedy in our lives. Made me take a whole new perspective on life. And I kind of looked around and thought, I got to do something here. We had all this debt, all these medical bills that we needed to cover. And I knew that getting a job or getting involved in some home-based business was not going to get me the income that I needed to get over this huge challenge and to avoid bankruptcy. And so I started looking around and saying, who are all these wealthy people that are driving around in Porsches and wearing Prada and they're working at Starbucks? They must know something that I don't know. Mm-hmm. And I figured that most of the people that had extreme amounts of wealth were either involved in something illegal or unethical, or they were professional athletes, Hollywood movie stars, or they were involved in real estate some way or another. Mm-hmm. And I thought my best option was to go down the real estate line and started getting some education on how to start investing in real estate.
Now, did you have any exposure to the real estate industry before that moment?
Absolutely not. My background's in makeup artistry and cosmetic sciences, so it was totally out of my realm and wasn't even something I was excited about. I just saw it as an opportunity to use that vehicle to get us out of the position that we were in.
Okay, so what was your first step?
My first step was actually mere frustration, trying to adapt information from any resources that I could get. What I found out very quickly is that most of the people that were out there teaching real estate investment programs were, number one, they were American. They were teaching a lot of things that were sometimes illegal or unethical, and many of them didn't have a real estate portfolio to talk about. And they were in the business of selling programs and not necessarily in the business of building real estate investment portfolios or empires for themselves. And they were charging ridiculous amounts of money to get the information, and I thought, there's got to be another way. Mm-hmm. So I started going through the back door and informing myself. I talked to a lot of mortgage brokers, real estate agents, lawyers, accountants, other investors to find out how they put the whole thing together. And just using I'm a very logic-driven person, so I kind of put together this plan that I thought was foolproof and jumped in 2 feet and took action. Okay,
so first of all, because you were dealing with a lot of issues, personal
Absolutely.
Issues at the time, how were you able to kind of, I don't know what you did, put that aside so that you can concentrate, because you still have to deal with that stuff, but to concentrate so that you were able to learn what you had to learn and do what you had to do to get the real estate career going? How are you able to make that separation?
I really think, when you're going through all those things, you're not capable of dealing with it. It's just, it's so intense that I think it was a welcome distraction for me to get involved in real estate because mm-hmm. it gave me an opportunity to take my focus off of the things I had no control over and focusing on something that I could do something about. So it made me feel really empowered. It got me out of the depression, knowing that I was taking action and doing something to make a difference. It consumed my life, consumed my time. I didn't do much sleeping or breathing or anything during that process because I was very, very focused on getting out of the situation that we were in.
Mm. So what was the first, it's one thing to learn the stuff and assemble the knowledge, but what was the first actual action? Like, what was the first thing you did? Did you buy a property?
Actually, on August 1st, 5 years ago, I bought 3 properties that day.
That was, you bought 3 at once?
3 at once.
So,
yeah.
okay,
Go big
buy
or go
3.
Home, right?
Sure. Okay.
And so I bought 3 properties right off the bat. And within that month, I just continued to use the resources from the initial properties to fold into new properties, and just bought more properties and more properties and more properties, and just kept building.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you, so what market? Because, every market's a little bit different. And you kind of have to or correct me if I'm wrong, but do you have to sort of have an intuitive grasp of the market, so that because I used to sell real estate, and I used to be able to, okay, that's a good deal, that's not a good deal. You would get so familiar with the market, you would get a sense of what a place was worth, or if a property was priced below market or above market, and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. There's definitely tons and tons of research involved in the process, and I did a lot of research before I jumped in. Sounds like I just, was flighty and just made a decision, but I actually did a lot of research before jumping in. And to the point that I could have gone down any street in that particular city I started investing in, I could have told you the price or the value, the market value of any of those homes within $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a trained real estate agent would pretty much have an idea looking at comparables and what properties were worth. I was very, very astute with the market before I started investing, did a ton of research, and I knew that there was opportunity there to make a lot of money.
Now, can we ask you what market you were working in or
I
operating
started
in?
investing in British Columbia, northern BC. That was where I started my investments. As of now, the larger pockets of my investments are all over Ontario and all over British Columbia. I do have some properties in other provinces as well, but I tend to be a bit of a binge buyer. Mm-hmm. My personality is I'd rather have a headache or like a migraine once in a while than a headache every day. Mm-hmm. And so when I go in, I do a lot of research. It does take a lot of time to know where you're going to invest, and I figure if I'm going to invest all that time and energy, I want to make sure that I get out with a lot. So I go in, buy a lot. I actually 2 years ago bought 49 places in 10 days, and that's what got us a lot of media attention and broke some records. And it's just easier for me to get it done that way. Then go big, get it done, and get out, and then have some time to chill, relax, and get involved in the things that I'm really passionate about.
Okay, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But so you bought 3 properties all at once?
I did.
In northern BC?
Yes.
And what kind of properties were they? Were they residential?
2 fourplexes and a duplex.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd like to keep my investments in the residential realm, so most of my properties are 4, 3, 2, or 1 unit.
And that's an important thing, too, to understand the product that you're working with, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why we do so much intense training with our students for them. Many people start investing in real estate because they understand it's a good idea. They don't necessarily do a lot of research or have a lot of knowledge. They're more concerned about building their ego than building their wallet. And, they like the bragging rights, be able to go to a hockey game and tell all their buddies that they own half the town, but really they're not building an asset that has any available resources to it. So it's really important to not just buy real estate, but buy the right kind of real estate, and you need to have a lot of education and knowledge and make the right decisions as you're going through the process. It's a dangerous game to play if you don't know what you're doing.
Okay. And the markets, we've been in a market that's kind of been rising since the early 80s in general, all across the country. And is your system, is it geared to that market, call it a bull market or whatever, a market with prices that are rising? Or is your system, because what if things turn around? What if the market goes a little sour?
Well, that's one of the main reasons why you always have to buy awesome deals, because the market will change. And one of the ways that I stay so positive, people think I'm so positive and bubbly, and one of the reasons is because I am always looking at what's the worst case scenario before I get into a situation. I want to know what's the worst thing that can happen, and us humans can come up with all kinds of ideas of what the worst thing is, and I plan for that. So I'm always going in looking for absolutely amazing deals so that when the market does change, at least I've got a good deal on my hands. When you're going in buying mediocre deals and the market changes, you get stuck with something that could actually damage your entire portfolio. The beautiful thing about investing in Canada is, unlike the United States, our market is not, spread out across the country. We have different pockets here and there. Sometimes different areas will be lower than others. Some areas are going up, some areas are going down, and we get hit more one community at a time than the entire country as a whole. So there's always opportunity in Canada to find great places to invest, and those places always change. So it's important to know how to do research so that you can stay abreast with where's the right place to invest now.
It sounds like it almost might be a way for people to kind of hedge their risk as well if they're investing in different communities
Absolutely.
across the country. If one goes down, another one might go
That's
up.
right. It's an opportunity to diversify, and a lot of people think in order to diversify, you have to put your money in different vehicles. Like some people want to invest in stocks or in mutual funds and real estate, but you can diversify within the real estate realm just by having properties in different communities, different sized cities, different provinces. There's lots of opportunity.
And different kinds of properties too, I would think?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
There's just so many opportunities out there, and when you're working with diversity markets, you can pull equity out of a market that may be rising and go and invest it in a market that is more depreciated, that's going to rise later on. So you can play one up on the other.
Because if you were just stuck in one market, you might lose the ability to get the capital necessary to put money down
That's right.
on a property somewhere.
It's like some people live in a city where the property value's gone up so much, and they want to sell their house because they've made a lot of money on their house. But if you're going to buy back in the same city, you're not really getting ahead, because not only their house has gone up, but everybody's houses have gone up. So it's really nice to be able to work one market up against the other.
So how are things looking in the Canadian real estate market right now?
It's amazing.
Really?
It's amazing. I've never known a better time to invest. People, there's just so much opportunity out there. And it's funny because so many people get afraid when the market seems to be down. You hear everything in the media. Unfortunately, we're very influenced by what's going on in the economy in the United States because of television mostly. We have not been affected nearly as much as the Americans have been, but more of a mindset thing because we're associating ourselves with what's been going on down there. But there is a deflux in the market, which has been really great. People don't go to the store and see their favorite outfit on sale and say, well, I'll come back next week when it's full price. Mm-hmm. There's an opportunity here to take advantage of some really great prices. But unfortunately, our mindset has trained us to believe that if things are cheap, there must be something wrong with it. And we think, well, it's got to be a lemon if it's undervalued. And without looking at the reality of it all, there's a lot of opportunity out there to take advantage of things that just happen to be on sale for whatever reason.
It's so funny because I remember when I was in real estate, I would see these properties that looked like good properties, like, very reasonably priced multi-unit residential buildings, and they were in the listings for a long time. Mm-hmm. And everybody would see them. And the fact that they were there, people would think, oh, there must be something wrong with that
Absolutely.
property, right? And then when you actually went in there was nothing wrong with it at all. It was just a fantastic deal, and people couldn't believe what a deal it was.
Well, we had a similar experience. Before I even started investing in real estate, my own personal home, we went through this real good learning experience where we decided to sell our house a little bit below value because we had bought another home. I was in my 8th month of my pregnancy, and I wanted to move before the baby was born. And so we decided to sell our house just below market value. We had an offer on the property immediately, I think within about 3 or 4 days. People put an offer in conditional on home inspection and financing. And they did the home inspection on the property. Everything was fine. They didn't get approved for financing. So it was held up for 6 weeks, and the deal fell through. So in that market in the Okanagan in BC, houses were selling very, very quickly, sometimes higher than asking price. And so people just assumed there must have been something wrong with our home because it was undervalued and a deal had already fallen through. Mm. And they knew that it was conditional upon a home inspection. So people just assumed they must have found something wrong with the house. And our real estate agent, on his advice, we lowered the price of the property again. We did that 3 times. And all that accomplishes, it made people believe even more that our house must have been a lemon because we were so desperate to sell it. Mm-hmm. Nobody thought that maybe I was having a baby in a couple of weeks and I needed to get rid of this house. And we ended up giving it away, for next to nothing. And there was absolutely nothing wrong with the house. So having gone through that experience really prepared me to understand the motivation of the seller is very rarely is the motivation money. It usually has a lot of other things attached to it, timing, personal circumstances, divorce, foreclosures, different things like that. So there's lots of opportunity to get great deals on properties if you really learn the motivation of the seller instead of focusing on the price of the property itself.
What do you have to do to prepare yourself to even invest? Like, you'd obviously, I guess, need to have a certain amount of money saved up, like to cover a down payment, or like from a financial point of view, what kind of things you have to do to get ready for that?
That's a really great question. And actually, yesterday I was doing some training as well. And I've been doing this training. I've been teaching people how to invest in real estate for 3 years now. And our students come in, and it's funny how the dynamics work. But every time I start working with a new student that seems to have all their ducks in a row, they've got equity in their property, they've got lots of down payment money, great, you know, they just look really good on paper. They've got good everything. And you think that they're just going to kill it. They're going to take over the world. They're going to beat me. They're going to be very competitive. And they end up doing very little because their lives are already so comfortable. They don't have that fire burning inside to get out of the situation that they're in. Then we get students that come in that have been recently bankrupt. They have no money. They have bad credit. They have all kinds of things going wrong for them. And I think, oh my gosh, they're going to have a real challenge getting through this process. And those are the ones that come in and end up buying 100 properties in their first year. So really, it isn't about having all of the resources that you need. It's more important that you have the drive, the determination to overcome the challenges that you're going to face. You know, investing in real estate and through the system that I use, it's very, very simple, but it's not easy. There's a lot of challenges that you face along the way. You need to have some backbone. You need to be able to deal with a lot of the last minute things that are going to come up that are going to throw you for a loop. And you have to have a lot of strength and not get emotionally involved. And unfortunately, I guess for those that seem to be in a more desperate situation, they just have more strength to be able to overcome those challenges. So it's not necessarily, you know, having great credit or having down payment money. You can do it without. And you know, history has shown that those that have it don't tend to do as much as those that don't have it.
And it's interesting that you're doing this from a uniquely Canadian perspective, right?
Absolutely.
So, because it is a different market, and it's always a little bit different. So we always hear about these kind of programs from the American side of things, although I don't know if I've heard about them lately as much. But now, having said that, who ideally, what kind of people would benefit from coming to your seminar, and you know, are they the kind of people, maybe you could just
right. Anybody
let us
who's
know.
really looking to make a change in their life, they're looking for freedom. I always tell people it's not about the real estate, it's about just having a life of freedom. I'm not passionate about real estate myself. I appreciate the fact that it's a vehicle that's given me, you know, financial freedom as well as time freedom. But I work with all kinds of demographics. I work with people who have experience and those that don't. I work with a lot of real estate agents, mortgage professionals. That I've worked with people who have had more property than me when I started working with them. And I've worked with people who have absolutely no knowledge about real estate investing, which was the case for me when I got started. So there's really not a set demographic. We work with young people as well as the old and anybody in between. So it's really about, are you ready to make a difference in your life? Are you ready to have some freedom? And is this a vehicle that you want to use to get there?
So, I mean, it would be good for agents?
Absolutely.
Because a lot of agents don't really know how to
I do a
do the
lot of
game, right?
training. I train a lot of real estate agents, and the challenge that we have with real estate agents is that they've been trained in real estate, so they think they already know, and it's more difficult to train somebody who thinks they already know than somebody who would readily come in and admit that they don't know anything, and they're more open to learning. But the advantage to working with real estate agents is not only do they learn how to become astute investors, but I also teach them how to attract investor clients. So every single real estate agent that I have worked with has also increased their business as a realtor, in addition to increasing their own personal portfolio. So they get kind of the double benefit of being involved in the program.
Okay. Now, you now that you've turned things around so completely from 5 years ago, you're doing some other stuff.
Absolutely.
Supporting. What are you working on?
I'm
Outside
very,
of
very
business.
passionate. I'm very passionate about having the opportunity to make a difference in the world. Going through this process, I really learned that I have value. That you know, I grew up on the wrong side of the tracks and thought I was never going to accomplish anything in my life. And realizing that I have the power and the opportunity to have an impact on the world has really fired me up. I'm so passionate about making an impact. I'm not leaving this world without everybody knowing that I was here. And we got involved just 4 years ago in building homes in third world countries for families there that have nothing. They come from immense poverty, things that you couldn't even imagine. I've seen things worse than what you'll ever see on World Vision. And it really makes me feel amazing to know that I can have an impact on their lives and really make a difference. And so we build houses for people in third world countries. We're working on an orphanage project in Burundi, Africa, where we're bringing in a non-conventional style orphanage and school system into the country so that we can help those people, you know, live a better life. I'm also excited about getting involved with some friends of ours who are also involved very heavily in charity work and doing bottle schools in South America. And I'm going on a mission trip in a month from now to go rescue some children from trafficking in India. And then our next goal is, our next thing is in March, we're going to be going to Cambodia to rescue some of the children from the sex slave. So it's really an absolutely exciting life to be able to go out there and make a difference. It fires me up so much, I get a little bit excited when I start talking about it.
Now, have you done that before? Gone overseas and rescued people?
I never had the opportunity, you know. Prior to this, I had been, you know, to Ottawa and Vancouver, and that was my whole world life travel experience. So it's really exciting just to be able to know that we all have it within ourselves to do something huge in the world.
So what are you going to do when you go to, you know, like Cambodia or India? Like, do you have people you're working with over there? Or are you just going to go grab people off the streets and set them right? Or what's how's
It's
it going to
actually
work?
interesting because last month I was down at an event. I'm part of the mastermind group with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And so we got together with a bunch of us and we're looking at opportunities. And for me, I'm not interested in setting all that stuff up. I'm really about taking action. I want to go there, get involved, get the work done. And so I was able to meet this amazing gentleman who's actually done all the footwork and put this whole system together and asked me if I would be, you know, wanted to come forward with time and financial resources to support this. And I'm like, this is great. You've done all the stuff I don't want to do. And I'm really excited about actually going there, getting dirty, sleeping in the mud huts, and physically rescuing these children. We're also going to be building a compound where we're going to house the children once that we've rescued them. So I'm really just fabulously excited about being able to go there. A lot of my friends are going to be coming with me as well because I tell them you got to be there. You know, this is just going to be the most exciting thing. And same thing with Cambodia. It's already all been set up. And they've been there before, done some work there before. And it's really something that's close to my heart. I have young children myself, and it just absolutely tears my heart apart to see what children around the world are going through.
So is it just a pure expense out or money out or a charitable contribution, or is there a way for somehow for that to gather momentum, pay for itself, and you know, set up a sustainable way to continue to help kids
Well,
like that?
I support it all through my real estate, you know, and I'm really of the belief I'm not a very materialistic person. I don't make this money for me or make it so that I can make a difference. And we're not involved with any charitable organizations as of yet. I don't have the time or the desire to set all that up, but I'm sure that one day that's all going to come together. It's just about just getting involved. You know, I don't get overwhelmed with all the details. I just want to get in there and get the work done and get out. And the details don't matter. It's the end result that matters.
Okay, so tonight you're going to
Yeah.
be in Toronto. Now, are you also going to be in other locations over the next little while?
I do travel quite a bit. I'll be down in San Diego and Santa Monica and LA.
Are
again
you
this
giving
month.
this presentations down there? as
No,
well?
I'm not. And actually, we usually do charge quite a bit for an event like this. But it's an opportunity. I came here to be part of the business franchise show this weekend, which is an absolutely great event that goes on throughout Canada. And as part of coming down to do the event for the business franchise show, we decided to put on this free event here for the local people in Toronto, where I'm going to actually be crunching numbers and doing some really intense training for people who are ready to take the next level. They want to learn how to build their own empire. And a lot of the people that are coming tonight have no experience whatsoever with real estate investing. They're just kind of coming out to see if it's something that they might be interested in doing. And I'm really excited about being able to do that, because people open up their eyes and they see how easy it is and start getting really excited. And I truly believe that if I can help other people in our area get through the financial oppression and get past all those issues, that they can have the freedom to start living a life with passion and doing things that matter in the world.
So tonight, is there room left for people?
You do need to register online. It is a limited room because we do some very intense training. So in order for them to participate, they need to go to richmom.com/liquidlunch and register. So the first 75 people that register will get admittance into the event. And I can't even tell you when we'll be back doing another one here in Toronto. We don't have any planned as of yet.
So it might be the last chance. We don't know for sure, right?
Probably be back at some point, but we just don't know when that might happen. I have a very busy traveling schedule, and so far Toronto is not on our list.
Okay, so richmom.com/liquidlunch. People have to register. And what time does it start?
6:30.
And it's-
Registration's at 6 o'clock, and it's
Okay.
completely free.
But there's no cost,
Not at all.
but normally there would be.
Absolutely.
So it sounds like a great opportunity for people to kind of jumpstart
For sure.
a new life altogether.
Absolutely.
Have you changed from where you were yourself?
Oh, totally changed. I'm not even the same person anymore.
Really?
Yes. Then it's amazing the transformation that you go through, and when you go through challenges, you see the worst in people and the best in people, and I think that I'm so grateful for the challenges that I've been through, because I think your true character comes out when you're faced with those things. And unfortunately for some people, that's not something very pretty to see. But I am actually really excited about working with other people as well, and seeing them go through that transformation and seeing their real character come forward. It's been absolutely life-changing for me. I used to have absolutely no self-confidence whatsoever, felt that there was no reason for me to be on this earth, and suffered from depression quite a bit. And now I'm just on a mission and so passionate about taking the resources that I have, knowing that I have the opportunity to make a difference and really wanting to have an impact on the world. Makes me feel really wonderful to know that I'm going to be leaving a legacy behind, and that I'm a good example to my children.
Mm-hmm.
They're following in my footsteps, and that makes me really proud to see what they're doing in their lives as well.
Okay, so tonight, just go register online. And are you going to be is the franchise show being held?
It was this past weekend.
Oh,
It was
okay.
really a great event, and it's unfortunate that we couldn't have told people about it before. It was just, they do a really great job putting that event on.
Well, sounds like that's the last thing happening that people could take advantage of. So.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So, and is there a website? I guess it's richmom.com is your website.
Richmom.com is my website. For the event tonight, we're going to be, the tickets are being given away for your show, so they're going to be at richmom.com/liquid lunch in order for them to get the free tickets for tonight's event.
Okay, super.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Savannah, for coming on in the show and
Well, thank
tell
you.
us about this. And great to meet you.
Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to be able to have an impact and hopefully bring some value to the people in the Toronto area this evening.
Okay, great. So let's take a little break, Nat. What do you think?
Who's up? Oh, Shane's
Shane's
here.
coming up in just a couple of minutes here on Liquid Lunch as we continue here on a Monday. We'll be right back.
If you don't get into it, you'll never know. And if you sit there waiting too long and it's time to go, if no one hears ya, you're not alone. But if you sit there wishing too long, you're gonna turn to stone. So I'll have you moving from the darkness to light, light to black. I remember where you live if I come back. Oh, I'll have you moving from the darkness to light, light to black. I remember where you live if I feel like coming back.